Today we'll be learning ancient navigation using the sun and the stars. We will be finding direction in both the northern and the southern hemispheres. First, we'll begin with the northern hemisphere. To find north and south in the northern hemisphere, you must first find the North Star, or otherwise known as Polaris. Polaris is the only constellation that seems to stay fairly stationary and is located directly above the North Pole. To find the North Star, we must first find the Plough, which is a well-known group of stars. Some also know it as the Big Dipper or saucepan. After you locate the Big Dipper, identify which two stars are the pointers. These are the ones that your chicken noodle soup would pour out of if you tipped your saucepan. Next, draw an imaginary line upward from the Big Dipper that is 5 times the distance between the pointer stars. This will point you to the North Star. Once you've located the North Star, draw another imaginary line straight down, and that is the North Pole. True north lies directly underneath the North Star. Let's practice. Take a moment to find the Big Dipper. Have you found it yet? Can you identify the 2 pointer stars? Here's how I found the North Star using the Big Dipper. After locating the Big Dipper and the 2 pointer stars, I drew an imaginary line 5 times the distance of the pointers. This imaginary line points to Polaris, or the North Star. After I've located this star, I drew one last line downward and found the North Pole. To find east and west in the northern hemisphere, you can follow the path of the sun. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Therefore, view the sky during sunrise to find east, and view the sky again during sunset to find west. Next, we'll determine direction in the southern hemisphere. To find north and south in the southern hemisphere, you must first locate the Southern Cross. After locating the Southern Cross, find the 2 pointer stars nearby. Next, you'll draw 2 imaginary lines, one extending outward from the longer axis of the cross, and another extending perpendicular from the middle of the 2 pointers. The 2 lines will intersect at a point. Once you've identified this point, draw one last imaginary line downward, and you've found the South Pole. You can now use this to reference north and south. Let's practice. Take a moment and see if you can find the Southern Cross. Have you found it yet? Do you see the 2 pointers nearby? Here's how I found south using the Southern Cross. I first found the Southern Cross and the 2 pointers nearby. I then drew the imaginary lines until they intersected. Once I found the intersection, I drew one last line downward and found the South Pole. Finding east and west in the southern hemisphere is the same as the northern hemisphere. Follow the rise and set of the sun. To locate east, view the sky during sunrise, and to locate west, view the sky during sunset.